on yourself, and then we'll go through the questions and vamp off those. How's that?
Sounds good to me. A little bit of background about myself. I have been working with entrepreneurs, sales experts for the last few years, and I came upon them. I started working with them almost by chance. Just going back through my own journey, I had no confidence growing up. I was one of those people who always hid away in the background. I never felt I had anything important to say, that no one was interested in me, and I grew up very much feeling that being invisible was the best way for me to stay safe. And this carried on for all my life. And what I didn't realize was those beliefs I created in my childhood, they were going to grow with me as I grew into adulthood and still stay part of my subconscious. When I had children, I looked at them, watched them, and they had this wonderful self-confidence. I thought, I've got to stop faking it. I want to really start feeling it and really getting in touch with myself and liking myself and feeling comfortable in my skin. And I started a long, long process of personal development. Tried so many different trainings, modalities, read lots of books, went on lots of workshops, did loads and loads of stuff. And I trained in things like NLP, hypnotherapy, and they helped me to a certain extent, but they weren't really giving me any permanent relief. It was just temporary relief. And then those feelings of unworthiness would come back again. And it was really affecting my business at the time. I had a personal shopping business, and I used to hide behind my computer. I didn't have my name on my website. I didn't have my photos on my website. I didn't do any networking, no social media, because I felt like a complete fraud doing what I was. And I was really scared that I'd get found out not being very good, although we were getting amazing results for our clients. When I started the personal development journey, I was looking for something that was going to give me a permanent change, not just in intellectually thinking about it, but on the experiential level. That's what I was looking for. And by chance, a friend sent me an email, and she said, "You're into limiting beliefs. You might be interested in this email." And it led me directly to a guy called Morty Lefko, who's since passed away. And the first thing he said to me on our call was, "The only reason you feel so rubbish about yourself is because you believe your limiting beliefs." And I thought, okay, let's go along with this. I was very skeptical. Nothing's going to work for me. This is all I'm ever going to experience. And he started taking my limiting beliefs out of my subconscious. And I didn't even know which limiting beliefs I had around self-esteem, around money. And then he showed me how to eliminate them one by one and then replace them with a new empowering belief. And I didn't want to admit anything had changed because I wanted to be right. This wasn't going to work. But I started taking action that I'd never taken before in my business. I started putting out videos and it felt easy. I stopped worrying about what people were going to think about me. I stopped worrying about being judged and criticized. I was able to have much easier sales calls because I stopped worrying about the prospect and what they thought about me. I stopped worrying that they weren't going to pay me what I wanted to, what I was charging. And I really brought the focus in on myself and how I could help them. And I started putting on my prices, and everything really took off in my business and also in my personal life as well. And I started reaching out to people I wanted to connect with because I stopped taking things personally. I wasn't scared of no's anymore. It completely transformed my thinking. I was blown away by this. This was the answer I've been looking for. And by no means is it all 100% perfect. I still have moments where I get into my negative spiral thinking, but I know how to pull myself out of it very quickly now. And I trained in this amazing method. The reason I started working with entrepreneurs is because a friend of mine who's a very successful business coach, I said to him, "Rob, will you, can I do a free session on you? And if you like what I do, will you tell your list about me?" And he said, "No problem." So we did a session, a mindset session, and we uncovered a limiting belief of his. And I think this was a few years ago. I think it was, "I don't matter." Oh. 3 little words. What possible impact could they have on his income? I don't matter. Well, after that first call, He had a record month. I think he went up by, I think he was getting about 20K a month, and he went up to 70K a month.
Wow.
And then the month after that, it went up again. And he started scaling new levels of consistent monthly income he had never, ever achieved before. And we worked together again recently because his business has gone on to a different level. He started putting together a team, and he wanted to make sure he wasn't going to self-sabotage himself. He's got great awareness in his thinking. So we worked together again, and that brought in about $5,000 more income because he sent out an email campaign and he added an extra email at the end, and he got some more sales from that. He said he would never have normally have done that. He would just sat back and just given it maybe 80%. Now he was giving it 100%. So the power of our thinking is so enormous, and I'm struck by it again and again and again. And the wonderful thing is, it's within us. We don't have to go and buy thinking. We don't have to think, you know, which is the best thinking I can get out there in the market? Where do I need to shop? How much money do I need to spend on it? It's within us. And it is our most prized, valuable, and overlooked asset. And that's why I'm so pleased that you're here today, because you can spend the next hour or so on your thinking. And this is something that most people never do, because we're rushing to do the next strategy. We're rushing to take action.
Thinking.
Sorry?
I said, so we're going to think about thinking.
We're going to think about thinking. I'm going to think about how thinking impacts our success in particular, and how by changing and tweaking and shifting our thinking, you can automatically start having more success in your business. And I've proved it with myself. I've proved it with hundreds of clients, and it's absolutely possible. And I believe it is the easiest, quickest way to have more success, to get more clients, to charge higher fees. Because once you have that absolute self-belief and confidence in yourself and the value that you bring, then you become completely unstoppable. And you stop using that pushing energy where I really need to raise my prices. Oh, I don't want to do it. They're what they say, no, but I really need to do it. That conflict that goes on with that within us, that just stops us dead in our tracks and causes us to procrastinate and be overwhelmed with thinking, that disappears. And you get to the stage where I think, well, I offer so much value, I really don't think I'm charging enough. So with the next call, I'm going to say a new price.
Well, and when I interviewed Nina, it was very apparent to me. I'm not new to this game. You know, I've been doing this since the mid '90s, and I have seen a lot of people and a lot of. But the thing that struck me right away with Nina is that she was the real deal. You know, there was not. This isn't black magic. That there's real substance to what she does, how she does it, and just by how she talked about it with such congruity. It really impressed me, and I really wanted to share. And I'm kind of disappointed we don't have more people here, but I think the people that are here are absolutely fantastic. I know that we're all going to benefit. And every time I talk to Nina, I benefit from just being around her. So let's go.
Okay.
Let's rock the Casbah.
So do you want me to carry on, or do you have you a question for me?
Let me start with a question. And the first question I have for you, Nina, is, in your experience, what typically holds business owners and salespeople back from really going out and having very powerful, authentic conversations with prospects?
The biggest reason that I keep seeing again and again, and this was my own reason as well, is because of the stories we make up in our head. And one of the biggest stories is that rejection is scary. This is one of the biggest limiting beliefs we have. And it's not just about sales, it's about life in general. It's getting a no from someone. And so we're afraid to ask, because when we will do anything to avoid getting a no. Anything, we'll put off taking action because it feels so uncomfortable. It feels scary. And the reason it feels so scary is because we take it personally. When someone says no to our service, then they're rejecting us and who we are. And isn't that painful? It's so, so painful So we'll do everything we can to avoid getting a no. And that can mean when you're on a sales call, when it comes to saying your price, you may drop your price because you don't want to get that no. And it can stop you from really fully getting into the sales call because you're dreading that end bit when they say, well, how much is it? And then they'll say no. The easiest way I've found to stop having this fear of rejection, well, the easiest way is to remove the limiting belief from its root and replace it with a new empowering belief. But another way of doing it is to stop taking things personally. When I stopped taking things personally, everything changed. I was able to start reaching out to people. I was able to have much, much higher quality sales conversations because I wasn't worried about getting the no. I was able to put myself fully into the call and have a great conversation with a prospect, whatever they said at the end of it. The way that I stopped taking things personally is this. I realized that no one has the power to reject me and who I am. All they're saying is that my service isn't right for them at that moment. And that's absolutely fine because it's coming from their thinking and their opinion. And everyone is entitled to their thinking and their opinion. We are all unique thinkers, each and every one of us. There are 7 billion or so unique thinkers in the world. And that's amazing, isn't it? So everyone has their opinion, and if it's not right for them, that's absolutely fine. But what I found is when I separated who I am, me, from my service, then I was able to start being absolutely fine with no's. A lot of people make the mistake, not just business owners, but a lot of people make this mistake of thinking that they are their product or their service or their job, and that their value is tied in with how many clients they have or how much money they have in their bank account. When we do that, we make a big mistake, because when we think, well, we are a coach, we're a consultant, that's who we are, that's our identity, then when someone says they don't want our service, it feels that they don't want us and they're rejecting us. We're not good enough, we're a loser, they think that we can't deliver the result that they want, there's something lacking about us. So when we have to be able to separate ourselves from our service in order to be okay with getting no's. And it's very, very easy to do, because when you see that your value is not tied up with how many clients you have or how much money you earn, your value is inherent within you. It's 100%. It is there 24/7. You cannot give it away. No one can take your value away from you. You can get 10 no's in a row and your value is exactly the same as before. It's just there. And so I would encourage everyone on this call to separate themselves from their service. You are not the coach, consultant, you're not the father, the mother, the brother, the sister, whatever that is. Well, these are just labels we carry around. You are so much more than that. You are so powerful. And yeah, this is really, really a key part of being able to deliver great, great value in your sales conversations, to get rid of that fear of a no. And actually, no's are great because they lead you to yeses. And it's funny because I've been in sales for years, about 30 years or so, in one way or another. And when I used to look at sales before, I was okay, I'm in the middle. I'll get either a yes or a no. I want the yes, I don't want the no. So this is direction I want to go in. And then I realized, actually, it's like there's 3 stepping stones, and I'm on the first stepping stone, and the yes is on the 3rd stepping stone, and the middle stepping stone has the no's on it. And I have to go through the no's in order to get to the yeses. So the more no's I get, the better it is. The more sales conversations I have, the better it is. And they will lead me to the yeses. And when I realized that, I thought, okay, this is good, because this is the path that I need to go on in terms of my sales conversations.
Funny, Nina, when I started my career and I went to work for a national sales training company, I sought out the highest producer I could find to ask him what the keys for success was. And this was a guy in 95 making about 90,000 a month, which was, I mean, I think the nearest competitor, there was 170 of us doing that. Anyways, I went and asked him, what's the key to success? He goes, Carl, if you really want to make it in this business, make a commitment to go out and get 750 people to tell you no in the next 2 years, and I'll guarantee you'll still be here. And so I thought, well, he's a lot better than I am, so I better set the goal at 1,500. And the year I joined, there was about 57 other associates came through the system. A year and a half later, I was the only one left, and I guarantee it was because I got more no's. But you stumble upon yeses along the way.
Yes, absolutely. And a no is a challenge, because when you get a no on a phone call, it just gives you an opportunity to step back and think, okay, how can I make this even more powerful? How can I add more value? How can I get the prospect to see my value more? How can I build up more rapport? How can I be a better listener? So a no is such a great learning experience for us. And this is an opportunity to become even better and better and better at sales conversations.
So when we're having these sales conversations, Nina, and one of the things, you and I talked about was standing in your value, is being present with your value. A lot of times what happens when we have to get a price or try to convince somebody to work with us, we sometimes get disassociated from our value. How can we deeply hold our value when we're having these conversations?
The value part is so important, and it's about having 100% certainty in what you do, what you offer, and how you can help that prospect. The way to believe in your value is to not just think, okay, well, I'm offering this service at this price. I'm offering, 6 months of coaching at this price. That's what I'm bringing to the table. You're bringing so much more than that to the table. You're bringing your years of training, all the investment you've made. You're bringing all your experience, all your know-how, all your expertise to the table, all your years of having worked with clients and getting them results. That's what you're putting into that offer. And that's got tremendous value. And when you look at all of that you're putting on the table, the price you're charging seems really small, doesn't it? So know that you are bringing, you could change that person's life. Literally, you could change that person's life by helping them to solve their problem. Forever. And there is no monetary value to that. I don't know what stage you are at, and people are on the call in your business. If you have lots of clients, look back at the testimonials and the evidence you have of how you've helped people. If you don't have that many clients, then work with people for free or a low fee. Look at the results you're getting them and go, wow, I really, really helped them. So you can see in yourself that you are really helping and bringing value. But the mindset behind knowing your value is so important. And I would really, really encourage you to do the inner work, because it's all very well having an amazing sales script, learning how to deal with objections and all of those things. But if you've got the inner dialogue going on saying, they're never going to pay me that much, they don't believe what I say, I'm inferior to this prospect,
there's so many other choices out there.
Yeah, there's some other people are better than me at this, I'll get them a better result, I don't know enough. If you've got that inner dialogue going on, it's going to definitely trip you up and sabotage you. You may get some yeses along the way, but you're going to struggle to put up your fees and you're going to struggle to work with higher paying clients. That's for sure. So do this inner work first, sort it out, get this money thing sorted out, your money programming, get it to that point where you absolutely believe that what you're charging actually isn't enough and it's time to put up your prices. And it's okay if some people can't afford you, but you will definitely start attracting people who can afford you, because the energy you put out there, when you have absolute self-belief you're confident, you're 100% certain in what you do and the value that you offer, people pick up on it at a really deep level. And it's not even something that you can, it's not tangible, but they're picking up your energy. In the same way, when you're on a sales call and you're not feeling confident about yourself, the prospect will pick up on it. If you say your price with a bit of a wobble in your voice, the prospect will pick up. When you're building that bridge between their challenges and your service, and you don't 100% believe you can help them, they will pick up on that, a really deep subliminal effort. You have a choice with every single call you have. Are you going to show up with confidence in what you have to offer without being connected to the outcome? You're going to be there to offer your best absolute value on that call? Or are you going to show up worried that that person's not going to want to work with you, they're not going to be able to afford you, and actually they're not going to believe you can help them? So you have a choice with each and every call you have. And the way that you turn up to the call is going to dictate the result of that call. I've been there where I have had very little confidence, and I was thinking, they're not going to say yes, they're not going to say yes, and guess what? They didn't say yes. And I've been on those calls, and I think, okay, I'm just going to have a great conversation. I'm going to listen deeply. I'm going to give as much value as I can. I want to really understand what's going on for this client. And if the client says yes or no to working with me, that's absolutely fine, but I want to be of value. And we get a much better outcome. They may say no, but we've had a great conversation, an absolutely great conversation. When we leave the call, we both feel that we've got something out of it.
Yep, that's great. That's great. So one of the things you're saying is that, and does anybody have questions? Please. I mean,
oh yes, please do.
We're small enough that I think this can be a little more free form than if we had 20 people on here. Kind of that was the original plan, that we'd have a lot more people and we needed to keep it a little more structured. But if you got questions, please, Bill, I know you're going through a little bit of a career change right now. I'm not going to volunteer your situation to others, but no
worries. There's no downside.
For you, how you show up at maybe at a job interview, or when you talk to other dealers that you're looking to get in with, I know Dr. Olwyn is really taking on quite a big chunk of changing this world in major ways. Jonathan, I don't know Jonathan. I can't even see Jonathan's last name. So, but, I know for a couple of you, this is a great time to ask questions. Pick Nina's brain, because if you don't, I'm gonna.
Well, then just make sure they're good.
Oh, don't worry. They'll be good for me. I want them to be good for you, though.
No, I personally don't have any particular questions at this moment, just a couple of thoughts, and that is, you just posed an initial question, which I actually don't even remember the question now, but it was
the question I asked.
Yes, what was the initial question you asked?
Is when you're with a customer and you're selling, how can you stand in your value during that whole process?
So I'm hearing everything, but the things I'm specifically dealing with presently are not how to improve that particular call that you're on, how to improve that interaction. It's really how to find the people with whom to do that. I have a failure on the lowest level, finding more people with whom to have those conversations. Certainly, if I do have conversations with them, I could certainly improve. I could certainly have more positive thinking, use some of those techniques, but my failure is even on a lower level, and that's getting in front of the people with whom to have this interaction. Just thought I'd say that.
Okay, so is any fear or resistance to reaching out to those people? Or is it just you have no fear about it, it's just logistically you don't know how?
It's not binary, meaning do I have fear? Do I have absolute fear or an absolute lack of fear? Certainly not. I think I'm low on the fear scale, and find that more it's logistics. How do I do that? I was a financial advisor with a particular firm for about 8 years. I recently just got let go from that firm, so I'm in transition now. But those issues were, instead of knocking on doors of residents, instead of trying to go out and knock on the door of a small business, there has to be better ways to do that. And my firm would always say, great, Bill, so go out and find more clients, better clients with whom to work. And then I say, great, how? So that's my initial frustration.
Carl,
Sorry.
no, that's okay. Carl, do you have anything?
Well, yeah, I do. And Bill, may I have your permission to be brutally honest?
You have my permission, sir.
As somebody who knows you, likes you, respects you, thinks the world of you, the how is never the problem. The how is symptomatic of other causes. Something other than what to do, how to do it is holding you back. And I suspect that because when you clear the limiting beliefs up, the whole world will open up to you. You know, the what to do will just become apparent. I mean, you know, just contacting firms, asking if they're hiring, who hires. I mean, that can be done with phone calls. There's no magic to what, you know, to getting in contact with people. But I would be very curious, and Nina would be the person to ask is, you know, if there were a limiting belief there, maybe what might that be? And Nina might be the perfect person to ask. I mean, you might get an opportunity today to clear this up at a much more profound level than you even think is possible right now.
There are limiting beliefs. And I'm just saying that I don't know you. You have limiting beliefs. We all have limiting beliefs. And the problem is you come to this stuck point where you seem to be right now. You seem stuck with this challenge. The stuckness is coming from some deep subconscious thinking that's going on, which you're not aware of. I never knew what my limiting beliefs were. I could not put words to them. I just had this feeling. I don't want to be visible. I don't want people to see me. I've got to stay hidden. My limiting beliefs were things around, I'm not good enough. There's something wrong with me. It's safe. It's scary to be visible. I had lots of money blocks. No one will pay me that much. It's, oh goodness me, I can't remember my money blocks. I had so many. I've still got some to clear up. But these are words we need to find. The words, those sentences that are your limiting beliefs, because once you can find them, and you know, they're just so insidious. They're just deep down there in your subconscious. Once you can find them, pull them out, clear them out permanently from your subconscious, and then put new empowering beliefs in their place, then opportunities will open up. They have for me. I get asked to do training for other people's groups. I've just been asked by an amazing sales coach to host his most powerful group of clients. Opportunities will show up. They definitely show up. They show up out of the blue and not in the way that you think. So you may think, well, I can only find these potential prospects in this way. But when you do the clearing work, they can come out of areas and from places you didn't think they would. They will take you by surprise. And that's a nice thing. It's about opening yourself up. And the funny thing is that we keep trying to fix every challenge in our lives with our analytical brain. And we think if we can really figure this out, we can fix this problem. I'll just think about it, I'll think about it, I'll think about it. Well, the problem of using our analytical brain for everything, and it was very prized when we were at school because it helped us to learn to read and write and do sums, and the teacher said, pass exams. We used that analytical brain for all of that. And then it's almost as if you have to use it for every single situation. But the analytical brain doesn't work for all our problems. It works for some, but not for others. The sort of problem that you described, it looks like an analytical problem, but actually, if you ask yourself that question, you may be surprised by the answers you get. Instead of trying to find it from the outside, the answer from the outside, it's within you. I promise you the answer is within you. And it's just opening yourself up to hearing that voice of wisdom, which we have probably hardly ever listened to. You know, when you suddenly get a solution to a problem that's been nagging you, and suddenly get this really clear sentence that comes through, and you think, oh, okay, I'll do that. And it's just like a moment of inspiration. It's so easy. You think, well, of course that's the answer. Why didn't I think of it before? That's when our wisdom gives us an answer from within. And it's the simplest, easiest solution we could possibly have imagined. That's when when we have a quiet moment, we're doing something we love doing and our mind is quiet and it's almost meditative. That's when it comes up. You have so many resources within you, we all have, that we just don't use because we're busy trying to fix everything with our rational, analytical mind. And it's not there for all of those things. It simply isn't.
And so many times, Bill, when somebody goes through something like you've been through, at a level we may not even be aware of, it's traumatic. It's traumatic especially for a man. I can't speak for women. Thank God for women that, you know, we have them in our life. But the day I start speaking for women, I'm in big trouble. But for a man, when we lose our job, I mean, so much of our identity is wrapped up in what we do to bring money home for the family. It's a very deep part of our identity. And to go through what you went through is not only stressful, but it's traumatic. And it affects you in ways you may not even be aware of. I mean, you've been kind of dragged through the mill. You're a classic example of when bad things happen to good people, right? So the brain wants to move away from things that are painful, things that are stressful, things the brain doesn't like, things the brain doesn't like, right? And that's what we mean by the unconscious, right? So at some level, you're putting up these barriers that are keeping you from moving forward. And what's causing that are some maybe beliefs about what will happen if you put yourself, I don't know what it is, I'm just spitballing here, but at some level, you're creating resistance to what you need to do, right? You need to get out, find people that are looking to hire. You're talented, you're good at what you do. You're fairly good looking guy from what I've been told. Women like it, you told me once, right? So there's
I said the older ladies really like me.
That's what it was. That's right.
That's right.
So
I remind them of their grandson, apparently.
Well, there you go. But at some level, it's not an issue of knowing what to do. It's, what to do is simple. You just got to get a hold of people that hold jobs the way, that you're looking for. Get your resume in front of them, it's not rocket science, especially for an intelligent guy like you. Something is holding you back and taking your energy in another direction. Is that?
Yes.
Oh, yes. I'm okay with that. I would be a fool to disagree with you. When I initially had mentioned what I was talking about, I was thinking more along the lines of in the past, in my role, trying to reach out for clientele. Certainly a similar situation now. I must find potential employers with which to have a conversation, but different but similar.
Yeah. And it's interesting, isn't it, Bill? Because, you have stories. You got stories about maybe how difficult it's going to be and, challenging it's going to be and all these problems, because we all have some negative thinking going on about, what we need to do, especially if it's a big thing like you're going through. See, all these stories going on in your head. You may be conscious about some of the stories, others, are deeply hidden away. If you were to strip away all those stories, can you imagine what action you would be able to take? If you were to get rid of all that negative thinking, all that negative clutter that's going on, and you were free of all of that, what sort of inspired action would you take? Probably the biggest action you've ever taken in your life. And without all those stories, you will be standing fully in your value. And of course, you've got something amazing to offer. People will be lucky to have you. And it's not arrogant. confidence. It's just this quiet inner confidence that, yes, I have all of this to offer. So there's a real difference in how we think and how we show up in any situation in the world, depending on whether we have high level thinking going on about ourselves or whether we have low level thinking going on about ourselves. And when you have that high level thinking going on about you, and it feels completely aligned to who you are, that's when opportunities show up. They definitely show up when you're in high mood thinking about yourself.
You attract them.
Yeah, our thoughts are magnets. The great thing is that any negative thoughts you may have about finding a new employer, those thoughts are just thoughts. They're not you and who you are. You are not your thoughts. You are something so much more powerful. You are the creator of your thoughts. Now, we're creating thoughts, most of us by default, but thoughts are just rushing in. We're not having anything to do with what comes in. We're firing up certain negative thoughts. We're letting other thoughts pass by. They're like clouds passing across the sky. Some thoughts just pass through. We don't pay them any attention. And other thoughts, we think, oh yeah, I'm going to hold on to you. And then we give them a lot of power. And then when we have a lot of power to those thoughts, or their negative thoughts, they will stop us dead in our tracks. They will make us procrastinate. We will not take the action we need to take in order to get to our goals. It's an absolute truth. Now, as the creator of your thoughts, you can decide what thoughts you want to create. So look at your goal. What's your goal? What is your big goal? And think big. Okay, so that's your end goal. Now come back to now. What thoughts do you want to create with deliberate intent to get to your end goal? The thoughts that you choose to create, and you're the creator of your thoughts, you can choose any thought you want. It's like, one of those sushi trays. It goes round and round and round, full of delicious looking dishes. You can pick that thought off the sushi tray. You can pick that thought off the sushi tray. You can pick that thought. You can let that one go by. You don't need that one. You pick that one. You choose. And the thoughts you create will give you the feelings that you want. And then when you get the feelings that you want of excitement, of, yeah, come on, it's out there, it's waiting for me, I'm going to get a great new employer, I'm going to give so much value, all these great thoughts, then you take your inspired action, whether it's calling people, whether it's however you decide to contact people, and you will get those ideas, they will flow through you, and you'll be surprised that people get in touch with you. So it's by deliberately creating your reality. And most of us do it by default. And then we think, I don't really like my reality. I'm not feeling happy. I haven't got enough money. I haven't got great relationships. Well, it's not being caused by anyone or any event from the outside world. We are creating it innocently because we're not paying attention to our greatest asset. We're rushing past it and we're trying to do, sort everything out with our analytical mind, feel overwhelmed, stuck, don't take action, beat ourselves up, another day goes by, and then we repeat the same pattern again and again.
So Nina, is this begs the question, how is fear of rejection, fear of criticism typically affect people, especially in business and in sales?
Look at people's results. Look at your results compared to your peer group. The only reason they are doing better is because they're taking bigger action. They're talking to more people, therefore they're getting more sales. They're talking to people, they're getting more no's, but they're also getting more yeses. They're connecting with bigger players. They may do joint ventures with them, collaborate with them, go and speak on their stages. They are taking the bigger action. They may have setbacks, they may have big knocks, but it won't stop them because they don't think this is just temporary. They're not buying into the story. They just say, okay, I can build again and I'll build better next time because I've learned these mistakes are great because they're part of my learning experience. It would be boring if we got everything right all the time. We would just sit there twiddling our thumbs and thinking, well, there's no
Hey,
challenge.
hey, speak for yourself.
Seriously.
I could go for a little boring. That might not be such a bad thing.
Oh, and you're so bored. Think, come on, bring on the action. So we're
I
here
know.
to play. We're here to play the game of life. And being in business is just one of those rides in the fairground. We're on a business ride. We're here to play the game of our lives. Let's not take it too seriously. We may have a setback. We will have a setback. It may be big, it may be small. It's how we deal with it. That's the important thing, not the setback itself. So the only difference between you and someone who's doing something similar to you and earning a lot more money is their mindset, what they believe they can achieve. It's the risks they're taking, because the bigger the risk you take, probably the more successful you're going to be, obviously if it's a reasoned risk. But I don't buy into this myth that if you've got more money, you're going to be happier. I've seen so many business owners, and I've worked with so many business owners who are, mid to high six figures, and you look under their bonnet and they feel like a fraud. They've got unhappy relationships. They're paying their team so much, they feel they're broke. So I don't buy into this, what's on the shiny outside is the truth about what's going on the inside. I think it's a real, it can be quite, it can be the wrong thing to look at our peer group or the peer group above us and think, oh my God, they've got it all going on. They've struck gold, because it's like comparing your inside to someone's outside, and it's never, ever going to be the truth. So really, focus on yourself and the best you can be. And a really great way of doing that is to think, okay, so what would I be thinking and believing to be true about me when I am earning 50K a month, or I'm working with that particular type of client, or I've got a particular type of team? What would I be thinking and feeling and doing as that person? Step into the high level you now. That high level you isn't out there in the future distance somewhere. It's within you. It's not out there, it's within you. And that high level is already within you, just waiting for you to own it. So do it now. So if you're looking for a new employer and you were certain you're going to be working with your dream employer, what would you be thinking? And really step into it. Don't just think, well, I'll probably be thinking this or that. Really get into it. And when you get that feeling of excitement, when you start getting on the experiential level, then think, what inspired action would I take? You may write to them, you may phone them, you may come up with a really creative way of catching their attention. There are millions and millions of ideas out there, and there are people doing just this thing. There's a lady I worked with, and she wanted to get in touch with someone or come or get in front of someone who she thought, he's a much bigger player than me. She sent him a parcel, and in the parcel, she sent him a shoe. And she said, I'd like to get my foot in the door. And he was so pleased with this that he did a little YouTube video. And he put it out there to his social media following and said, this is such a great way of getting in touch with me. And then they had this long thread of people commenting and everything. And one of the people who commented said, I'd like to speak to this person as well, because I think she can help me. Amazing. And that's just getting the creative juices flowing. But when you feel blocked and stuck, they cannot flow. But there are so many ways you can get in front of your favorite prospect, for sure, because people are doing it. It's for you to elevate your thinking to that level as if you were right there now. And
so, Bill, go out and buy a few dozen shoes, and you'll get in front of every right? You only have to send one shoe.
Yeah, get your foot in the door.
There you go.
There you go.
Tell them you'll bring the other shoe at the appointment.
Absolutely.
I know a guy that wanted to get in front of Donald Trump. He was a developer, and he sent Donald Trump on Monday. He sent the 10 of hearts. Tuesday he sent the Jack. Wednesday the Queen. Thursday the King. Showed up Friday at 9 a.m. with the ace and said, "Please give this to Donald," and actually got in front of Donald Trump. He didn't make a sale, but he still, he got in front of him, and Don said, "Listen, I'm very busy. You've got 10 minutes to get my attention. If you can get it, fine. But in 10 minutes, you're out the door. So go."
It's a very much, it's a difference between a pushing energy, thinking, oh, I really need to get this sorted out. I need to do this. I need to get in front of people. How am I going to do it? Versus an allowing energy. And you can only receive as much as your mindset is at the moment. That's as much as you can receive. So to receive more, then you need to expand your thinking and expand your mindset, really strengthen it up to raise your expectations. And raising your expectations of what you decide to allow into your life will definitely bring you those possibilities. It's logical, it has to. When you expect more of yourself, then you will definitely start creating that reality out there in the world. But it's dealing with all of that rubbish and clutter, which is just crowding out all that flow and all those creative ideas which are waiting to do their job for you, to make it easier for you.
I remember once I had, it was a while back, but I come from a German heritage, and and with a German heritage, everything's got to be hard and difficult. It's like I can have success, but it's got to be difficult, right? If it's not difficult, then it's not real, And I remember the day that I actually realized that was I was having success, but I was killing myself doing it. Just like, that's crazy.
Alwyn, do you have anything you'd like to ask? Is there anything that you're feeling challenged around, stuck around at the moment?
I'm going to have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, some of the things that Bill brought up and was brought up in the discussion was reinforcing. And I really appreciate the approach that you are taking, because it is foolproof. It works.
It's foolproof.
And very much enlightening. Yeah. And we all deal with limiting beliefs. I am in a new environment, and I never had to sell. I was just referred in the private space I worked. And now I'm in the public arena. And some of those things are coming up, and I'm dealing with them as they come up. And so I'm very appreciative of you sharing these strategies, because they are really powerful.
Yes.
And it awakens some of them that were dormant.
If I may ask, what do you do and where do you do it?
Who's that question for, Bill? Nina or Dr. Alwyn?
Is it Dr. Alwyn or Dr. Pierre?
Dr. Alwyn.
Oh, it's for the good doctor.
Yeah. Okay, because my clients, I used to carry Dr. Pierre, and my clients told me that they all win with Alwyn, that I need to carry Alwyn. So that's Alwyn. Yeah,
what do you do and where do you do it?
Yeah, what I do is that I work with C-suite and senior executives, like high achievers who are in stressful and demanding jobs. And I help them to be holistically productive, profitable, and joy-filled. So they live the life that matters most to them. And I take them to higher levels, one they thought they could not achieve.
Wonderful.
And I've been doing that for the past 20-something years. So in fact, the simple way of saying it is that I help them make transformation in their life so they can live the future they desire, make it their reality now. And that is aligned with a lot of what Nina is saying.
Excellent.
But I have been working in the confidential arena for 20-something years with global leaders. And now I have taken the risk and come into the public space to launch my global movement that does the same thing.
Interesting. And you use interesting languages. I've taken the risk by coming into the public space. How comfortable do you feel about being in the public space?
Well, I did not feel, to be reality, I didn't feel comfortable because it was just much more frightening. I mean, I was safe in that space. I know people wanted me. I was at the top of my game. I was their secret weapon and differential advantage. And I worked. And I didn't have to care about what was happening around me. And then I came into that space and it was like, wow, protecting self, doing all those things. And I had to step out of that thinking and back into, I'm the same person. I'm here and dealing with those types of things. So it's, yeah.
Yes.
But it is very frightening because what it is that I didn't have to look over my shoulder. Now I have to not only look over my shoulder, I have to turn around. I have to look up. I have to look down.
That's quite a change for you, isn't it?
Yes. And then I never had to do marketing and sales and tech. And now I have to do all of that. So it's been a challenging, but I chose it. So I'm not going to complain.
Yeah. So for you, it's being much more visible than you were before.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah. Yes. And that's a challenge for so many people. Most of my clients have a fear about the marketing message out there.
And I am not a status quo person. I am a positive disruptor. So that makes it a little more scary because you know you're going to put your foot in your mouth many times. You know?
Absolutely. Well, one thing that I came across, which was very enlightening for me, is I used to think about selling as asking for something. But actually, the definition of sell is to give.
Okay.
As much as you can give in any sales conversation without coaching the prospect, obviously, as much value as you can give them. And it just turns everything around on its head. And it just becomes a real conversation between two people. One person has challenges and the other person has a possible solution for them. Yeah. So that really helped me actually when I thought about how I was going to approach my calls. Yes. And so it's the intention of giving in the call.
Yeah. And I had to change my thing also in selling because I don't like the concept of selling. And since the name of my company is Embracing Freedom Global, I am offering and then they have the freedom to choose.
Yes.
So that's how I have concocted it in my head.
That's lovely. That's a really nice way of saying it.
It's all a construct.
And it's how we reframe things in our minds that can make us feel good about them or make us feel resistant about them. And it comes down to our thinking. So you deliberately thought of a new way of framing it, and that's helped you. And this is something we can do with everything, every single thing that comes along. We can deliberately create our thinking. So if you're not getting the results you want in any area of your life, all you have to do is change your thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I know this is challenging, which is why I work with limiting beliefs, because when you start removing those limiting beliefs, automatically you start changing your thinking without having to use affirmations or willpower every single day and having to remember things. It just happens on an organic level. Yes. And it's the quickest way I've found to have that big turnaround.
Yes, yes. And Bill, one of the things is that I found is that when I just graduated from school, I just felt, how am I going out there to get a job? And I decided I will go to the person and say, you need me. And this is why you need me. So what I would suggest that you do is to hire me. And if within 2 weeks you're not seeing improvement, fire me. We could sign a contract now. And I got the job.
Good on you.
So, it's come up with something. The worst thing you could do is get a no. So why not? Go for it.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll share some thinking, and that is, have you ever heard of the phrase, what do you have to lose?
Right.
Okay. I have a quote, and that is, you can always lose that which you could have gained had you done it right. So what I feel is that sometimes when I do go in, it just happened a few weeks ago. And I did, in a sense, throw caution to the wind. And I think it didn't go over very well.
Hey, Bill,
Yes,
what did you learn from that experience?
perhaps it was a reminder that I often do not have a good first impression.
Nah, that's your story. That's the story. That's a limiting belief.
I am not perceived well by others. Now,
That's another limiting belief.
And these become self-fulfilling.
Yes.
That's the thing with
well,
these-
I was actually ignorant of it until recently, until someone just reminded me of it. Meaning, I generally will go in to that interview and say, "Hey, everyone, here's what I am all about," and I will give it out there. And then someone will say, "Hey, did you really do that?" And I'll say, "Yeah, I really did do that." And they'll say, "How do you think that was perceived by them?" And I said, "Well, now that you mentioned it, probably not well. Probably not well." So what do I do with that?
Okay. First of all, remove your limiting beliefs, these stories that people don't like you or they don't perceive you well or whatever these limiting beliefs are, because you'll keep attracting more evidence to back them up. Your mind, because it's got this limiting belief, is looking for more evidence because these limiting beliefs are magnets for more situations where you think, there you go. I know I'm not well perceived at the beginning. You see, I've got that person just prove it to me again. When you release that limiting belief and you put a new empowering belief in its place, then that new empowering belief acts as a magnet. And guess what? Then you'll start getting evidence that actually you do make a great first impression. That Carl said, what the learnings you gained from those experiences, take those learnings, think about how you can do it even better next time. And you don't have to get it perfect. It just has to be good enough. What you've done is you took action and you went in there and you sat down and you talked to people. So that's a huge, huge, big learning curve just there and then. You didn't just sit at home and not do anything. So all is helping you. And we're running out of time, but there's a whole other stuff I can be saying about how we use our memories to dictate our present and our future. You can bring in all your experiences from the past. Well, last time I did that, look what happened. And then look what happened when I did it that time again. We're using memories wrong because we're using them to stop us taking action in our present moment. There's a whole way we can use memories in a completely empowering way, which we're not doing. We're using them in a disempowering way. And that's what we do in every area of our life. Relationships. Look how I messed up that relationship. I'm going to do the same thing again. Look what happened last time. It's going to happen like that again. Look what happened. It's all the wrong way, upside way down of looking at things.
Yep.
It's a shame that we haven't got more time because there's a huge amount to be said around that as well.
Yep, we got to run it. I want to make sure that Nina, you get a chance to let people know if they're interested in doing some deeper work. How might they get access to that?
Okay. Well, I've been thinking just in the last few minutes what I could offer. I'd like to make a really special offer to people on this call and people watch the replay, but it's time limited only. So it's Thursday today, so I'll run this offer until, let's say, this Sunday evening. Now, what I'd like to do is to help you to remove a limiting belief. So you can experience what it's like and to create a new empowering belief in its place. So we'll work on your most powerful limiting belief that's stopping you from achieving your goal. And then once you've got that new empowering belief in place, then your thinking about that goal will change and you'll start taking new action, bigger action towards achieving it. I want to be completely transparent. Letting go of one limiting belief may not change everything for you. I work with clients for 12 months and they let go of so many limiting beliefs, and it's a cumulative effect. Session after session after session after session, they get stronger, more powerful. It may be that one limiting belief will do the job for you like it did with my client Rob. It may not. So I want to be completely transparent about that. But what I would like to do is I don't offer 90-minute sessions very often, but when I do, they're $450. But because you're part of Carl's network, I would like to offer you the 90-minute call, and we can get a lot of stuff done in 90 minutes for only $147. So if you want to experience this deep work and at a low investment, then we can do this work together. But if you feel that this isn't for you, then that's absolutely fine as well. All I hope is that you've got maybe some insights from the conversation we've had today, and something that you're thinking, well, actually, maybe I can start thinking about this differently in order to get to the goal that I want to get to.
Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. If you would like to do this work, then the best thing to do is to just send me an email. I'll put my email address in here. Then I will send you my calendar link, and you can schedule a call, and then we will do that session together. And
is this one-on-one or group?
Oh, this is one-on-one. This is bespoke work to your own particular challenge. And during the call, not only will we find one limiting belief, I will dig deep and find a group of limiting beliefs, and then I'll ask you to choose the most powerful one. So you will gain so much awareness about where and why you're feeling stuck right now and how you can move forward.
I'm in. I'm in.
Do it.
I'm in, man. Are you kidding?
I know.
That's too good to be true.
Yeah. Yes. So I've had a really good time today, and
I pay $150 to spend an hour with you, anyways, because I like being around you. You always.
Hey, where's your wife?
I don't
in the room.
I'm happily married, man. I got the ring. But I think what Nina does is absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm interested.
Excellent, brilliant. So send me an email, and then I'll send you my link, and then we'll get going on the YouTube session.
Dr. Owen, I'll see you at 2:30. Bill, you need to get a coaching session.
3 o'clock CT time.
Oh, right. What is it? So it's 3:30 then.
Yes, 3:30 my time, CT
Bill,
time.
Let's get a one-on-one. Let's get a plan on how we're going to get you a job going. Part of that plan would be getting you to talk to Nina, but let's get some action steps you can take. Nina,
very well.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. I haven't spoken to Jonathan yet, and I'm wondering whether Jonathan had a question that he wanted answered.
I am 100% good. It was very, very valuable listening.
Oh, hi, Jonathan. I'm so glad he found value in it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Excellent.
Powerful.
Anything you'd like to ask, Jonathan, or are you pretty good with everything?
I'm pretty good for now. I mean, a lot of the things that you said keyed in, stuff that I'm working with my sales team on, and it's just a lot of those not taking things personally, and being able to not have kind of a narrative of your own that is, taking over and preventing you from doing things. So I think a lot of the ways that you put things was an interesting perspective. And so, like you were saying just a few minutes ago, even about you constantly look for evidence of a bad belief, it's so true, it's self-fulfilling prophecy, I think it's called, right? So folks, we try and get out of those mindsets, so yeah, definitely challenges I think we all see, and it's just great listening.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being here.
All right, everybody. Over and out. Thank you, Nina, so much.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. It's been great meeting everyone as well. And thank you, Carl, for.
And I let you know here, I want to get you into work with one of my sales groups too. So I know we're going to be doing something in early December. After that, we'll circle back around and make some plans for next year.
Fantastic.
I think there's another group you can help. So
excellent. Brilliant. Thank you, everyone. It's been great. Thank you for your participation and being so welcoming as well.
Thank you.
Good day.
Take care. Bye-bye.